This is Dabbles in Drabbles by Lollipop114, read by Songs of the River / Dogs at 4. All credit goes to the author for writing up such a magnificent fanfic. That's just awesome. And for inspiring me to get off my butt and do something for a change. So, thank you, Lollipop114. Please do enjoy the podfic, and remember to check out the story once this is over. Link will be in the description, and I think I'm talking too much now. A dream is a wish your heart makes, Marinette sang as she measured up a black cloth and marked its place with a pin. When you're fast asleep, in dreams you will lose your heartaches. A smooth tenor voice coming from her balcony cut into the famous Disney song. Whatever you wish for, you keep. Marinette squeaked and threw a large cloth over the mannequin. She turned round just as Chat Noir peeked from the crack on her trapdoor. He gave her a toothy grin. Good evening, princess. Chat! What a coincidence! You're here, Marinette said, creeping towards her desk and inconspicuously closed her sketchbook. What can I do for you? Chat Noir raised an eyebrow at this. It was strange for Marinette to stutter around him, the Chat Noir him, not the Adrien him, of course. As Adrien, this was the norm, but for Chat Noir, not so much. Swinging down, he landed suddenly in the middle of her bedroom, crouching on all fours. His eyes darted from her messy work table to the covered mannequin and settled on the nervous look on her face. A sly grin grew on his lips. He pounced towards the model, but Marinette intercepted him. Just as his claws were about to snag the fabric, Marinette got hold of his wrists and pulled him away from her creation. Unfortunately, Marinette lost her balance. With a squeak from her and a yowl from Chat Noir, both of them fell painfully on the floor. "Ah, Chat, you're heavy!" Marinette complained as she struggled under his weight. Chat Noir realized the compromising position they were in, and he, much to Marinette's chagrin, gave her a smug smirk. He leaned down, forcing her head to lean backward until it thumped on the wooden floorboard. "Cat got your tongue?" he said huskily. A dark blush bloomed on her face. His smile grew wider like the Cheshire cat. With a frown, she pushed his face away. "You wish, you mangy cat," Marinette retorted. He laughed as he stood and pulled her up with him. Chat Noir glanced at the mannequin again. His curiosity still peaked up, but he knew Marinette would stab him with a needle before he even got 2 feet near it. He asked, "So, what have you been working on that is so hush-hush?" Marinette turned red some more. "It's a secret." He eyed her reaction with interest. It was rare for Marinette to act like this around him. If he remembered correctly, she had only done that around Adrien. So what had happened that would garner Marinette to act around Chat the way she acted around Adrien? "You know, you're making me extremely curious here, princess," Chat Noir said playfully. "Curiosity killed the cat," Marinette pointed out. He heard that line too many times. He replied automatically, but satisfaction brought it back. "Come on, princess, it can't hurt to let me see your creation. You know how I love your designs." "You can't look!" Marinette snapped. Chat Noir took a step back in surprise. Her eyes widened and she spluttered out apologies. "No, not in that way. I mean, just you. It's a secret. And it would be embarrassing for you to... what am I saying?" He watched as she palmed herself on the face. Whatever she was making was obviously not for his eyes. "Okay, I won't pry any longer." Marinette looked up at him. "What?" Chat put a hand on his chest and another up at his side like a pledge. "I won't pester you with your design until you say so. Cat's honor." Her smile was so bright and relieving that his heart skipped a beat. Thanks, Shat. New problem, he said. So, are we gonna have another round of Ultimate Mecha Strike 3? I'm so gonna kick your ass, Marinette declared as she turned on her computer. Shat. Say that after you beat my 5-time winning streak. I was just going easy on you, Minu, Marinette said teasingly. Shat knew that, but he wasn't going to let those 5 wins go even if she had given him some slack. Taking one last glance at the mysterious creation behind the white cloth, he faced the computer and forced away his curiosity. She would tell her when the time was right. For now, he was determined to take a 6th win. Come on, girl, you gotta go in there and strut your stuff. Aya, please, I'm gonna make myself a foolish fool. Pfft, foolish fool, you're funny now, come on. You're not going to make Adrian's jaw drop if you don't show yourself. With a last violent tug, Aya managed to pull Marinette away from her corner of the Grand Paris Hotel. Marinette stumbled out into the sidewalk, her black heels threatening to make her fall before steadying herself while clinging on Aya's arm. Even in the dim lighting, one could tell that Marinette's dress was simple and elegant but stunning. The deep batou neckline, tea-length silk dress was as dark as midnight, with a faint forest leaves shimmer. She was accessorized with wrist-length gloves of the same fabric as the dress, a choker with a bell, and a black mask. Her hair was down and pulled around her glittered shoulders. Come on, stand up straight, Aya commanded. We're gonna go in there like celebrities though, chins held up high and hips swaying. Oh yeah, Marinette giggled, but her nervousness ebbed away with her best friend's enthusiasm. Aya slipped her arm around hers. Marinette, this is a ball, a masquerade ball. This is a once-in-a-lifetime chance for Cinderella to snag her Prince Charming. I think you have a crazier imagination than I do, Marinette said with a laugh, as she followed her friend inside. The ballroom was huge and spacious, with floor-to-ceiling mosaic windows leading out to an open-aired balcony overlooking the sprawling city of Paris. Between the red velvet curtains were decorative light walls. Hanging from the ceiling were small chandeliers circling around a grand and majestic crystal chandelier. The floor was polished until it reflected the light and the attires of the people in the room. On the far end of the room were 2 stages. One was an empty DJ booth, and the other was occupied by a quartet string playing a soft waltz. Hey, Aya, a voice spoke up from behind the 2 girls who were lingering at the entrance. Aya whirled around and her eyes lit up at the sight of her boyfriend, Nino, who was in a casual black suit with a light blue tie. He said, Aren't you 2 going to... His sentence trailed off as he looked up and down at the reporter. Aya smirked. Her hair was in a high bun with stray hair framing the side of her blue masked face. She was wearing a V-neck sparkling tulle dress that was light blue from the top and faded into white at the bottom of her miniskirt. It was finished off with a silvery white pepto-strap stiletto heel pumps. The ensemble complemented her warm skin tone and accentuated her curves. Like what you see? Aya teased as she pushed up Nino's chin, closing his slack jaw with a click. He shook his head and smiled brightly at her. You look beautiful, he said honestly. Her cheeks warmed up and she laced her fingers with his. She complimented, You clean up nicely as well, Spielberg. Marinette, who felt like a third wheel in her friend's intimate moment, slipped away unnoticed. Walking inside, she couldn't help but notice that not only were there students from her school here, but ambassadors, celebrities, and other important people as well. Looks like Chloe went all out this year. I wonder where Adrian is, Marinette mumbled to herself. Tiki popped out from a secret pocket in her skirt and said, Maybe he's being dragged around by Chloe. Marinette pouted. She was hoping she could at least have one dance with him. Just then, Marinette bumped into a lean chest of a stranger. Tiki popped back inside. I'm sorry, I wasn't looking where I was going. Ladybug? Marinette stiffened and looked up. Emerald green eyes looked down at her through a dark red mask. Even if they weren't cat-like, she knew those familiar eyes anywhere. Chat Noir? She took a step back and surveyed his attire. His hair was pushed back, for once not obscuring his face. He was wearing a white tux shirt with a dark red bow tie. His tuxedo shone with a dark red sheen when it hit the light. From the fabric and the way it was tailored to his body shape, Marinette could tell that it would probably cost a lot of money. His relaxed state also showed that he seemed to be used to this kind of environment. It was strange seeing their partner without their superhero masks, but still with masks. It was like fate was against them, knowing each other's true civilian form. I've never seen you with your hair down, Chat Noir murmured as he ran a silken thread of hair through his glowless fingers. Marinette flushed at the way his eyes roamed on her skin that was usually covered with a ladybug-patterned suit. He looked at her back at her face and smiled. You look absolutely gorgeous, m'lady. You look handsome as well, mon chaton, Marinette complimented. Although, should I call you mon consigliere instead? Chat Noir grinned. So why are you here, my lady? One of my classmates is hosting this ball, Marinette said, so I was invited. Oh. She tilted her head in puzzlement at his odd reaction. He rubbed the back of his neck and said, Yeah, me too. I mean, not that I'm classmates with your classmates, of course, but I was invited from outside your class. She frowned at the weird way he phrased his sentence. For some reason, he looked both happy and anxious at the same time. Just then, a waltz came up. If he still had cat ears, it would have perked up at the sound of the music. Chat Noir held out his left hand and bowed. Care to dance, my lady? Or should I say, ma chaton? Of course, Jeanette. She placed her right hand over his and allowed him to pull her towards the middle of the ballroom floor. Just as they were about to dance with the music, however, Marinette stopped. Chat Noir looked at her in curiosity. My lady, what's wrong? I can't dance, Marinette said quietly in embarrassment. When he said nothing, she looked up. He was trying to suppress his laughter. You're laughing at me! No, my lady, I'm not, Chat Noir said quickly as she tried to tug away from his arms. Really, Ladybug, I'm not laughing at you, I swear. Marinette gave him a skeptical look. He composed himself and then said, I just find it amusing that the clawsome and the pawful Ladybug has two left paws. She groaned at his barrage of puns. Chat, please. Chat Noir tut as he tinkered the small bell on her choker. You're Chat Noir. I'm Ladybug right now. Whatever you say, bugaboo. Marinette rolled her eyes, but a smile still lingered on her lips. Resting her right hand on his shoulder while holding her other hand, he placed his right hand on the small of her back and pulled her in. He took the lead as she willingly followed, twirling her around, making her skirt bloom around her knees. He marveled at how he had dreamed of this moment and how it was actually happening to him now. As she returned back into his arms, Chat Noir asked, Won't you let me see beneath the mask, my lady? Ladybug faltered in her step, but regained her footing. You know we can't, Chaton. It's too dangerous. It might put our family and friends in harm's way. Chat frowned. He knew his partner well enough to see that she was still holding something back from him. Then he realized. Are you scared that I'll be disappointed if I knew the real you? Her silence was confirmation. Chat Noir cupped her chin, made her look him in the eyes. It would be so easy just to take the cover off her face and see the real beauty underneath. He said seriously, I would never be disappointed in you, Ladybug. With or without the mask, I don't. Ladybug's eyes shimmered like the deep ocean blue. I'm not the same with the mask off. But you're still the same person with it or without. The mask just brings out what's hidden underneath, Chat Noir said. But seeing that she refused, he gave up on it. Well, it was worth a try. I'm just lucky I got to dance with you tonight. Ladybug sighed exasperatedly at his pun. I guess your bad luck rubbed off me. He chuckled and was about to say another pun-filled sentence when the piece ended. Ladybug and Chat Noir looked at each other and separated. Chat Noir took a deep bow and Ladybug curtsied. Well, I guess I'll see you around, Ladybug said. My friend must be searching for me already. Chat Noir started to protest, but then remembered that he had ditched Nino. He sighed and nodded, watching her retreating back. Plague popped from underneath his tuxedo. Well, that was depressing. You can say that again, Adrian said. Taking a deep breath, he walked towards the DJ booth, knowing his best friend would be waiting impatiently for the second half of the night. Just as he neared two familiar figures, he spotted her again. Nino caught sight of him and waved his hand. Adrian! I wanted to ask you, since when did you start flirting with Marinette? Adrian frowned. Marinette? He looked at the girl beside him. She looked back at him with wide eyes. Alia said with a sly grin, Finally seeing what's in front of you? See what's in front of him? Ladybug was standing in front of him. Marinette was standing in front of him. Both of them stared at each other. Alia and Nino exchanged looks. I think we broke them. Adrian? You're... Marinette said in deep disbelief. Adrian looked at her in awe. He said in a breathy whisper, My lady. Marinette opened her mouth, and then she bolted. By the time Adrian realized what had happened, she was already halfway across the room. That girl could run. Wait! Marinette, wait! Adrian shouted as he ran after her. Slipping through the crowd and bumping into people, he continued his pursuit as his eyes trailed after the telltale black skirt. She had always slipped through his fingers, both from his shower of affections and his desire to know her identity. But now that he knew, he wasn't going to let her go. Marinette! He grabbed hold of her arm. She whirled around and looked at him, eyes wide with fear and vulnerability. Adrian gasped as he tried to catch his breath, still holding on to her. Please don't go. Straightening up, he led her to the middle of the ballroom. Marinette quietly trailed after him. Please, look at me, Adrian requested softly. Her eyes remained fixed on the ground. Please, my lady. She finally turned her eyes at him, and he was blown away by the absolute similarity between Ladybug and Marinette. He gazed at her, thoughtful and in amusement. He lifted his hand and brushed the bangs away from her face. Princess. He stroked the edge of her black mask. My lady. With slightly trembling fingers, he removed the mask away from her face. And there she stood, the girl he was searching for, and the girl who was his precious friend. Marinette Dupain Chang. She took a step forward and took the mask off his face. Her eyes searched for any telltale sign of rejection, but he looked at her with affection. His name was sweet through her lips. Adrian aggressed. There was a flutter in his chest. Dropping her mask, he cupped her face and pressed his forehead on hers. She dropped his and wrapped her arms around his middle. A bubble of laughter grew in his chest and broke out into the open. Marinette frowned. "You're laughing at me again." "I'm not," Adrien chuckled. "Trust me, Marinette, I'm not. I just find it funny how we discovered each other's alter egos through each other's alter egos." Marinette snorted. "That made no sense." "I know." Adrien laughed. I'm happy. Really, really happy." He noticed her reluctant expression. "Princess?" Aren't you disappointed?" she asked. "Ladybug is confident and strong, and Marinette is not." "With or without the mask, you're still Ladybug," Adrien said firmly. "Ladybug is just hidden inside. It resurfaces when you put on the mask, but it's still you." This time it was his turn to be nervous. "Me, on the other hand, Princess, I know after finding out that Chat Noir is me. I hope you don't hate me. I know we got off on the wrong foot when we first met, but—" "Wait!" Marinette stared at him, flabbergasted. "What?" Adrien grew confused. "I thought you hate me. You never seem to like it whenever you're around the Adrien me, and you certainly don't feel that way for Chat Noir." "It's because I love you, you silly cat!" Marinette blurted out. Her eyes widened as she slapped her hands on her mouth. You what?" she mumbled. "I didn't love Chat Noir because I was in love with Adrien." A dark blush exploded on Adrien's face. What an unexpected, cruel yet fateful turn of events. He could feel Plague's cackle under his jacket. You... Marinette looked at the dazed look on his face, and a plan formed in her mind. With a grin, she grabbed the side of his face and pulled him down towards her and pressed her lips on his. Rubbing her tongue on his lips, she slipped inside his mouth and ran her tongue with his. When he grew aware of what just happened, she already pulled away. Marinette said slyly, "What? Ladybug got your tongue?" She was sure from the blush that reached the tip of his ears and down his neck that she had broken him. However, later that night, the chat got her tongue. Thank you for listening, and please do check out Lollipop 1141's Dabbles in Drabbles. It's amazing, to say the least. So, leave a like or hit subscribe. Up to you. Wow, this is long. Thanks. Songs out.